Hey, my name is Kara. I'm an ultrasound tech, and let's talk today about bladder filling, specifically for obstetrical ultrasounds. So, with this comment here, she is a fellow ultrasound tech herself, even though I think she works in the States. So, I think there is a distinction between an ultrasound technologist versus a technician. Anyways, I'm in Canada. We don't have the distinction, so I'm just going to say we are both ultrasound techs. And we do need you guys to fill your bladders for your obstetrical ultrasounds. Now, why do we need you to have full bladders? Is it really just to torture you guys? No, absolutely not, because I have been in ultrasound school when we practiced on each other with full bladders. It was torture. I've had a couple of pregnancies now. It was also torture during that. And I promise you, it is for a good reason. For the first trimester, we need a full bladder to be able to see all of the structures well in the uterus. The bladder essentially provides a nice window for us to see the structures in the uterus with. And if you have a empty bladder when you come in the first trimester and we can't actually see the structures well, but we would have been able to see them if you had a full bladder, then we will have to do an internal ultrasound to be able to see everything well, which is unfortunate because, again, if you just would have had a full bladder, then we wouldn't need to put anybody through the extra hassle of the internal ultrasound. So that's why it's important in the first trimester to essentially see everything in the uterus, including baby. In the second and third trimester, it is important to have a full bladder still for the cervical length. The cervix is what is between the baby and the outside world, so basically the baby and the birth canal. And this is going to be something that should be remaining closed until the end of the third trimester, until you are ready to deliver. We want to make sure that we can get a good look at the cervix. And again, that bladder provides a really nice window to be able to see the cervix. And like in the first trimester, if we can't see the cervix in the second and third trimester when we are doing your ultrasound scan, then we will have to move on to do an internal just to make sure your cervix is still nice and long and closed. And to my knowledge, the only time that clinics aren't going to tell you to fill your bladder is at a high risk obstetrical clinic where they do not have any appointments for bookings. And it's basically just a time that they tell you to come at. But your appointment could be anywhere between then to like 3 hours from then. I know this myself because personally I've had experience with those high risk clinics. And unfortunately, because of the long wait list and also just because of the add ons throughout the day, they basically can't ethically say, hey, come with a full bladder and you may or may not wait for 3 hours. And then in the end, they basically just deal with the fact that the patient doesn't have a full bladder and they'll have to do an internal. But in general, please come with a full bladder to your ultrasound exams.